Binge eating. This is a tough topic to talk about within a family because the person involved doesn't really see a problem. And all eating disorders, I think, are that way. And how do you know? Binge eating isn't, I don't think, quite like, anorexia. I mean, you could see the results there. But binge eating. Let's discuss this. I think a few million people are actually affected, probably generally teenagers. I don't know, young 20-somethings. Dr. John Braccio, as always, our guest this time on a Tuesday morning. Doc, welcome aboard. How you doing?
Well, very good, my friend. I might add binge eating disorder. It's a very solitary condition. You know, the person with this condition also often can have depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. It's younger, but it can be older persons too. It's not just for younger people. It often shows up with younger persons, but no, it's something that doesn't matter what age you are. You can certainly have it. And it
How many people do we know on statistics that generally suffer from binge eating disorder?
We're looking at probably roughly 3% of the population, or nearly 4 million people. So it's, number-wise, percentage-wise, not that high. But if you're one of the 4 million people, Mike, that's a pretty big deal. And and the common characteristics of this, really, you're eating alone or secret. A lot of times, persons really don't want people to know what they're doing, and they're often eating when they're not hungry. They're just eating, and they feel a loss of control. This is really a big thing. I just talked to someone about this yesterday. It feels like there's a loss of control. They really can't control what they're doing. They just start and they just keep eating and eat quickly, often eat very quickly. So this can be another not a good sign. I don't have binge eating, but I certainly eat quickly. Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
But
well, and I don't think I have binge eating. In fact, I don't think there's no problem there. However, I will say I do tend to be a little obsessive compulsive about certain things, and sometimes I'll eat when I'm not hungry. But that doesn't mean I'm a binge eater, right?
No, it really doesn't. It's really kind of an extreme type thing. And often there's often with the person a history of binge eating associated with it when it has been used to reduce anxiety, depression, loneliness, fatigue, obsessive compulsive tendencies. I think it's one of those things that there's often a history to it. People have associated food with difficult or even good times, and just over time it becomes like an OCD, obsessive compulsive, something that they do. They don't hurt themselves. It's not like they're bulimic. They just once a week, generally the DSM-4 or 5, in terms of the diagnostic tool we use. It's the minimum you're looking at one time a week over a 3 months period. Okay. But people that do this, they feel anxiety, they feel guilt, they can feel depression, they can feel shame due to the binge eating, because they really don't want to do this, but they do. And they just do it. They may do it alone, but they just stuff all their feelings in their mouth with food, okay? Right. And they can fail one diet after another. They keep going from one to another, and they really don't realize that dieting in itself isn't the answer. It's more of a psychological thing. And obesity occurs, obviously, with many persons. Not everybody who is a binge eater is overweight, okay, because people don't necessarily binge eat all the time. However, your tendency is to be overweight, because there are people that don't do it all the time. They just do it some of the time. And another part of this, it's just continuing to eat, even when you're uncomfortably full. It's just to keep eating. It's just people that just can't stop. It's a compulsion with many of them. So,
does it have to be like sweets? Because I have a sweet tooth, I'll tell you that. But does it have to be like food that's not healthy, like a lot of meat, a lot of pasta, or something like that, or donuts? Can it be? That sounds funny, but can you be a binge health eater? Like, I just can't stop eating carrots and celery.
Well, I haven't run into that, but I will say that I think anytime you're binging, they tend to be more the sugar, the salt, these type things. But no, a person can binge eat on anything. What happens with a lot of people if they're dieting, they will stay away from things that they really like, okay, and they may even lose some weight. But when they binge, they tend to go to the things that they're really attracted to, the ice creams, the sweets, the pastas, call it what you will. That's why the general view is if you're going to be dieting, if you're just trying to eat reasonably, you eat everything you like. You just have to keep things in the golden mean, the summum bonum, because a lot of people can be very good for a week and then all of a sudden they start binge eating. They just kind of lose control. So it's really potentially a difficult thing for the person because of often the anxiety, the guilt, the depression, the shame people feel, because people really aren't proud of this. People that binge eat, generally aren't telling people, well, boy, I had 3 pounds of beef last night, or a cut gallon of ice cream, Baskin Robbins or somewhere. So it's and then. And of course, the main thing to do, if you do have this condition, the first place to start, I would think, is probably with your family physician. And this would be particularly true if it's a child, okay, if a parent knows a child is doing this. And treatment normally is going to include a team. It's going to include a dietitian, a medical doctor, and a trained therapist, with eating disorders. So it's really more of a team effort. But it's kind of one of those things. The binge eating is something often in the shadows. Is it something that people try to eat or try to eat? They try to hide from people. So the main thing to do is, if you have this, start really taking a look at what you're doing, why you're doing it, and really you meet people that really know what they're doing. Usually the family physician clearly is a place to start, and dietitian, therapist, but it can be certainly not a healthy thing for a person to be doing. But from what I have seen,
I would start at your place. I would start at your office, because to me, if talking to a therapist is going to help me, you got to get to the root. Why are you doing it? There's the question, and generally it's an emotional thing, isn't it?
Well, I would agree with that. There is a part though of the person that they really don't know how to eat often, and they certainly working with a dietitian, working with a family doctor, working as a team, because it can become healthy. Obviously it's not healthy to just be gorging yourself all the time. It doesn't have to be all the time, but just certain times that you just utterly lose control. So certainly being with a trained person who's used to dealing with binge eating, and there really aren't a lot of therapists with that ability, I might add. And that's not necessarily a specialty in our office either. But the main thing is that if you do this, you want to identify it, and you want to get rid of those feelings. Mike, a lot of people feel very bad about their eating habits. They really do, and they want to take control of this. And it's not just every now and then, because everybody now and then goes nutsy cuckoo, if you will, in terms of well, that's true. When they're eating, I'm standing at the head of the line if there's enough pasta out there for me with lasagna.
Well, you've seen me with the box of ding dongs the other day, didn't you? All right, I get it. Hey, we're up on time. Doc Braccio, we're talking binge eating. You can find him at BraccioPhD.com on the web, and so much to think about. Dr. Braccio, as always, it's always nice having you on the show. We look forward to our Tuesdays together, and we'll do it again next week, huh?
Mike, you're a good man. I look forward to talking to you, and enjoy the wonderful weather, okay? This is going to be next week.
Yeah, you too. All right, see you later.
Yep, bye-bye.
7:19 on 1320 WILS. 1320 WILS, back in a little bit.